Some people I've talked to are terminal. Some just might have an illness, or some people are just in general scared to pass on. But one thing that this, I guess you could say, journey of mine, this spiritual journey of mine really has taught me is that, in my opinion, my truth, there is 100% an afterlife. Hello, my lovely lights. My name is Chastity, aka the Luminary Luna Beams, and I want to welcome you to my channel. If you're new, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. You always brighten my day. So if you don't know me, I'm a psychic medium and an astrologer that specializes in the paranormal and spiritual guidance. I help people from all around the world with their paranormal issues. I help them along their spiritual journey, and also help people on their intuitive path. So one thing that Spirit has laid on me to talk about was the afterlife, because I see questions all the time about people that, are concerned about what happens when you pass away. And I'm a firm believer that none of us have the exact right answer. We're not meant to. It's part of our life's journey. But over time and working with just so many people, I really have got to experience things that I never thought I would. Also, it gives me a lot of knowledge through the research, through my connection with Spirit. And I really just want to make this video today to hopefully give a little comfort to people that may be facing their end of life. Some people I've talked to are terminal. Some just might have an illness, or some people are just in general scared to pass on. But one thing that this, I guess you could say, journey of mine, this spiritual journey of mine really has taught me is that, in my opinion, my truth, there is 100% an afterlife. And we're going to get right into that. I got some things I want to talk about. I'm briefly going to kind of go over some of these subjects, and it's something we may talk about later. But yeah, just hang tight and we will go ahead and get started. So I want to talk about 4 things briefly. I want to talk about different realms. I want to talk about the judgment, basically how people feel about, judgment from religions and stuff like that. Is there a judgment? I also want to talk about, I guess you could say, heaven and hell briefly. And the last thing that I do want to speak about is my interpretation of what happens when our soul leaves the body. So, as you know, there's really not one clear defined answer for any of this. So this is, again, just my opinion and things that I've seen. But first and foremost, I want to talk about different realms. So we exist in the earth realm, and in the earth realm, there are different realms that kind of like parallel us in different ways. And when I do my remote viewing for my clients, a lot of times I'm kind of shifted into that mirror-like dimension that's different. And this is where I'll actually see spirits and entities, and this is where earthbound entities reside. And we're going to save that topic for another day. But earthbound entities, they're around. Sometimes it's whole souls. Sometimes it's fractions or fractals of a soul. And it's kind of where you can find your ghost, even other entities. But there are so many more different realms. The easiest way for me to describe it is like Earth realm is right in the middle. So this is where we're at. And then you have your upper astrals or upper realms, and then you have your lower realms, your ascended realms, and then your descended realms. We experience things on a daily basis. Some of us paranormal. There's a lot of people that are having quote unquote paranormal experiences, or experiences of their relatives coming and like saying, hey, I'm here, I'm there, or leaving you signs and stuff of the such. And this is where like the different realms come into play. Most people For the most part, I would say, just figuratively, 90% of people end up passing on and going to the light. And we're going to get to that at the end of the video. But basically, just general overview of realms is there's many that exist. And then there's realms that exist that do not resemble Earth at all. There's just different places. And this is stuff that I've learned along the way of like my spiritual journey and learning and stuff. But for the most part, as a human spirit, we exist in the Earth realm when we're alive. And again, 90% of people ascend up into different places and different realms. And then some people stay kind of on this parallel Earth realm. And generally it's people that were not so good in life, or sometimes just a fraction of people, like when something very traumatic happens and they lose a piece of their soul, quite literally. Some of these things might be like over some of y'all's heads. Some of y'all may have heard of it before if you've heard me talk about it in the podcast, and I will go deeper into these subjects at a later time. But yes, there are different realms, ascending and descending. And like, again, some of them are super parallel to each other and some of them are not. So there are different realms. And when you have paranormal activity, one of the things that actually happens is in our realm, we have energy grids. And once those energy grids are warped, for whatever reason they become that way, there's several reasons. Things can kind of slip in. It's kind of like a door that's being opened in a dark room that's full of light. It's going to attract things. And now we're talking about lower realm things. When it comes to us communicating with our past relatives, they communicate totally, for me especially, and I would pretty sure other psychics or mediums can agree, it's a totally different feeling of communication from someone that's in an ascended realm versus a descended realm. Ascended realm spirits are not frightening. You feel peace, love, and comfort. Descended or lower realm beings, human spirits, whatever you want to call it, they can kind of cause fear and different feelings. And when you get that uneasy feeling, or you can even get cold chill validations from ascended beings, like in higher realms. But you can also get that same feeling from lower realm beings, but it's different, and you'll know the difference. But there are different realms, and these are some of the places we go after we pass away. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but this is just kind of how it works, or how it's been described to me. All right, so next we're going to talk about, let's talk about the purpose of heaven and hell. So ascended realms can be considered heavenly realms, and then lower realms technically could be considered hellish realms. I am a person that does believe that there is a heaven and there is a hell, but one thing that I've learned, one of the first things that Spirit ever taught me on my journey, was that there are, how can I say this? Words. Basically, words are just words. They're what we use to communicate back and forth with each other. People fight wars over words and perception. When it comes to spiritual communication, yes, there are words at times, especially if you're clairaudient, you have clear hearing. But, you know, our words, they can have different meanings, and you say something to somebody, they take it the wrong way. That's an earthly problem. That doesn't happen in spirit, because spirit communicates telepathically with a knowing, like just a knowing. So that's definitely one thing that to take in consideration. So when it comes to heaven and hell, it is somewhat of a perceptional thing. It is words that we've created to describe something. I've seen some really dark things that's never lived, okay? And there are what people refer to as demons. There are descended human spirits just as much as there are angels and ascended human spirits, and so much in between. I could talk for weeks on that. There's just so much. But basically, my belief, yes, there are very dark places. For example, when Me and Emily, the fine art medium, did the Waverly Hills Asylum. There is a darker, like, all parallel type dimension where some really, really creepy things hide. And sometimes, well, actually, we're creators, okay? We create all kinds of things through our energy, because we create thoughts through emotions and actions, which create energy, and just basically creating like liminal spaces within the spiritual realm. There are tons of like liminal spaces in the spiritual realm, like what I was talking about before. So when you think of different levels, there are different ascension levels, just like there's different dimensions. And you can hear people talk about in physics how, you know, in the fifth dimension, things just kind of fold in on each other at a subatomic level. Well, there's things that exist that way, and it can get quite in depth, but it's very fascinating. But from my experience, I've been to higher realms through astral experiences, whether I've been awake or asleep, and I have been to lower realms where I've been either awake or asleep. It just depends on what I'm doing. But in my opinion, yes, there is what people call a heaven, and there is what people call a hell. Do I believe people get sent straight to hell for judgment? So we're going to move on to judgment. I do not. I think that spirit is very forgiving and understanding, and it's not up to them to judge us. We come here for learning purpose. We come here to learn. You talk about toxic positivity. We can't be positive all the time. Human beings can't stay at a flat line. You're going to go up and down like a wave. That's one of my mottos. You got to ride the wave. We're supposed to experience sadness just as much as we're supposed to experience happiness. And when we have our feelings and our emotions, there is a neutral, right? And then there's higher vibrational and lower vibrational feelings, which also coincide with the upper and lower realms. And our vibration attracts things to us, not just spirits and entities and all that, just things in life. If like attracts like. And when you have things that happen in life, we have to forgive ourselves for maybe when we didn't make the right decisions or the right choices, and you can kind of, fill in the blank there. But judgment isn't like you stand there and you get judged and then you get sent to a burning lake of fire. That's not what it's appeared to be to me. There's many people that have had, near-death experiences that say they were sent straight to hell, straight to heaven, and a lot of that is a perceptional thing. A lot of it is part of perception. Or in one way, I think people have near-death experiences, especially people that have had a hard time understanding their own spirituality or, wanting to know more. Most of the time, again, 90% of souls do go to the light, and I'm being 100% honest in this video. But it just really depends on how you led your life, and it doesn't hurt to practice gratitude and ask for forgiveness from yourself. And it's your feelings that determine your judgment. Because if you are extremely fearful, fighting, going out of this world, and you're in that big state of fear, it is a potential that you could stay here in that parallel place. Can you get out of there? Yes. But there are some more things that I would talk about in a different video that has to do with that. Because again, most people are going to ascend. That's just, to me, that's facts. When I communicate with past relatives and my past relative readings, I've been able to tap into every single person, and most of the time they have a great sense of humor. They say they are okay, everything's fine, and they are watching over their family. Our thoughts bring them closer to us because our energy, it creates like a signature. So that's how things in the spirit realm is able kind of to detect things about us too. Higher ascended beings and lower. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about is what one may experience when it's time to transition into the afterlife. But before I do that, I just want to briefly mention that I have some really exciting things coming up. I am in the process of writing classes, so I'm getting ready to start teaching classes. I think I'm going to open each class up for 10 seats on Zoom, and I will have more details then coming. I also am, besides my Project with Lights at Midnight podcast, we do a lot of paranormal stuff over there, a lot of things about spirituality and intuition, and people that may have intuitive gifts can really benefit from that and learn some things. And I'm starting a new project with Rachelle, the Psychic Sleuth. So we will be doing a weekly or bi-weekly discussion like form. So it won't be any channeling, but we're going to be talking about different subjects and getting interactive with you guys. So that is going to be live on Thursdays on both of our YouTube channels. So you can find the live on my channel and hers. And we may even try to do TikTok at the same time or alternate. But I just wanted to slide that in really quick, and we'll go ahead and move on to the very last part of the video. So what happens when we transcend? I have kind of performed what can I call this, death doula duties before I ever knew that I was as intuitive as I am now, because I never expected to do this work. I had to be there for my family at passing. Like, I just felt this urge to be there. And the last family member that passed, I actually saw 3 beings in my mind's eye come and get her. So I found in the light, when she took her last breath, the whole room just lit up. The sun just shined in, and the family members that were in there just screamed out, and that the room just lit up. And she took her last breath, and it was something very hard to see and deal with. But what I saw that day did change my life, and since then I have seen and heard a lot more. Sometimes when I do family members that have passed away, they show me how they passed, and they show me what happened as they passed. So most of the time, if there's a traumatic passing and it is your time, let's say a car accident, most of the time, before you ever make that big final impact that is life-ending or would cause you any suffering, spirit pulls you out of your body. Okay? And this happens too at the end of life for people that may be terminal. During the last few days, hours, you will be kind of shifting in and out of your consciousness that you're used to. You definitely may see family members if you have time before you're passing, and it's not tragic. You may see family members coming in the room to greet you. You may see other spirits that have passed. They may even have like a golden aura to them. But generally, most people, specifically people that is a long-term passing, there's a long transition, you will see things that you're not used to. So if you're not used to channeling in and doing the type of work that I currently do, or a lot of people do now, you're going to see some things. And generally it's very peaceful. Your body knows how to pass. It's part of our cycle of life. So sometimes there is pain involved, but one thing that I have been told is that towards the end of life, that pain starts to dissipate, and you go into more of I guess you could say, a trance in a way. You can still hear everything that's going on. So if you have a family member that is seemingly unconscious, you can tell them what you want to tell them. They will hear you. And if they don't hear you now, they will get that message when they're taken on the other side. So final moments, you will be, brought out of your body. You can float above, you can see what's going on, but generally then you will be taken. You'll be taken literally whoop out. And some people report tunnels, light tunnels, galactic tunnels, beings of light, and they feel no more pain. And there is this initial oh, what's happening? And then peace. Some people are just peaceful the whole time. On the end of the family members, when my grandmother passed away, it was the most peaceful thing. She did not, she left, and the whole room just lifted. That If you've never been around somebody that's passed away from a long-term illness, you may not understand, but I know those watching that have probably do. It just kind of, even though it's super sad, there's just like this feeling, and that is spirit. That is the light coming in, because there is a light and a dark, and you know, it's a dualistic perspective, but that's how it's shown to me. And the light comes in and you are taken to your next life. This is where people have reported meeting Jesus, meeting God, meeting their relatives, being greeted, the amount of love and light that they feel, just like they belong. And this is from some near-death experiences. But most of the people that I have connected with are so happy and so full of love and light. And they even joke with their family. A lot of people, you know, that come through, they have really good jokes. And only sometimes the family will get. I connect with past relatives. I generally just ask for a picture. I don't want any names. I don't want anything like that. But a picture helps me connect better. I don't need it. I just like to have it. And the things that they'll tell you if you were to ever get a reading from a psychic will be things that maybe only you will know. A lot of times they'll come in and ask you questions that may be relevant to you, and I'll say ask you questions. It's the spirit communicating through the medium to you. So the spirit will say something to the medium, and the medium will repeat it back. We have no idea why we're saying it. We just hope that it makes sense to you. But most of the time it's very comforting and whatnot. So if you were ever interested in doing anything like that, I do offer readings. And just, you know, make sure, I will add this in, if you are looking for somebody to do that, make sure, you know, you check out their social media. Do not answer if anybody's inboxing you. Do not take their reading offer, because generally it's not a very good person. They're generally scams, okay? Because I know a lot of people may find this video, because I am a psychic medium, through the tags and stuff, so I just wanted to slide that in there. But ultimately, in my opinion, through my work, my whole fiber of my being, there is an afterlife. There is something waiting for us on the other side. And the cool thing is like, just again, the thoughts of your past relatives, it brings them closer. You can talk to them, you know, and you don't even have to speak the words. You can just think it and they'll know. I put that to the test with another medium friend of mine, Rachelle, the Psychic Sleuth, who I'm getting ready to start our weekly or bi-weekly discussions. I spoke to my great-grandmother in my mind, and Rachelle answered those questions from my grandmother without me ever speaking a word. So I hope this helps somebody that, you know, may be going through a tough time in whatever way that is in your life. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and watching the video. If you made it this far, be sure to give me a like, subscribe, leave me a comment. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. And until next time, peace out.